Norma Ray and the Second Wave of Feminism by Amanda Parr. Norma Ray. Norma Ray stars Sally Field as a 31-year-old Southern single mother who works in harsh conditions at a textile mill. A union labor organizer from New York comes into town to help start a union in the mill. He helps enlighten her to the unfair treatment they are receiving. This sparks a change in Norma to fight for equality for all the workers in the mill, both men and women, black and white. And the image I used is the movie poster. Union. The most famous scene of this film is when Norma Ray is fired from her job for trying to get the mill unionized. She writes Union on a piece of cardboard, stands on top of a table, and holds it up for the entire mill to see. With her action, the workers slowly turn their machines off one by one. And the image I used is from that scene. The real Norma Ray. Norma Ray is also based on a real person, Crystal Lee Sutton. Crystal Lee Sutton died in 2009 at the age of 68. The scene where Norma Ray holds up the union sign was factual. The real Norma fought for a union in 1977, and her story inspired the movie. And the image I used is Crystal Lee Sutton years later next to a picture of Sally Field. Norma Ray's representation of Crystal Lee Sutton's strive for equality was a great example of the second wave of feminism in the 1960s and 70s. Women were now standing up for themselves in the workplace and started joining women's groups like NOW, the National Organization for Women. NOW was led by Betty Friedan, author of the bestseller The Feminine Mystique. The feminine mystique was also a major part of the second wave of feminism and pushed the belief that women can do more than housework and deserved equal treatment. And the image I used is the NOW logo. As Gail Collins writes, as movements go, women's liberation was going to be both extraordinarily ambitious and extraordinarily successful. Crystal Lee Sutton's story is one of those many success stories of the second wave of feminism. It was women like her who helped initiate the social change and equality that women can appreciate today. The image I used is of Betty Friedan in the front with multiple women protesting. Workplace discrimination. Another issue faced by women in the workforce were the small amount of opportunities they actually had. For Norma, the option in her town was to work at the textile mill. The only time she was promoted, her employer did so as a retaliation for her few requests such as higher pay. He knew her fellow workers would resent her, and she soon went back to her place in the weaving room. Help Wanted ads still segregated options into male help wanted and female help wanted, and had a broad effect on women's job opportunities. After World War II, the women who were holding down jobs were taking the low-paying and unglamorous work no returning veteran would want to snatch. This view continued through the 50s and slowly began to change as women's liberation came to the surface. And the image I use is an example of the Help Wanted ad, segregated from men and female, and most of the female work was typing and bookkeeping. What really is feminism? Feminism can be defined in Webster's dictionary as the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities. The film shows this belief throughout the storyline through Norma Ray's interactions with her fellow coworkers. She does not only fight for her race or gender, but for all the workers to have fair wages. Her new husband at one point gives her grief for having black men in their home and for not giving him enough attention, but Norma does not back down. And there's an image after she holds the sign down and her coworkers are buried. Although there were groups like SCUM, the Society for Cutting Up Men, who were against men altogether, feminism is the firm belief that both genders should be equal. Norma Ray / Crystal could have easily gone this route, but they knew equality is not gained through hating an enemy, but fighting for fairness. And these are my works cited. Thanks.